Self-described outsider Anne Rice is my guest. Her vivid imagination is still rolling right along, inspired by her New Orleans roots and a few other things. Other things like...
You mean what inspires me?
Yes.
The supernatural, the mystery of existence, ghosts, wanting to write about heroes like werewolves, vampires, witches, outsiders, outcasts. I think supernatural fiction is a wonderful way to write about the outcast in each of us.
Very much so, and our darker side.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I wrote this down, but in The Wolves of Midwinter, you have a, I think that's where I read it, perhaps not in here. As Wyatt Earp said to Doc Holliday,
yeah.
there is no such thing as normal life, there is just life. There's no
Yes.
such thing as normal life, there's just life.
Actually, yes, it's Doc Holliday who says it to Wyatt Earp in the movie Tombstone. And Val Kilmer says it to Kurt Russell.
Right.
There's no such thing as normal life, Wyatt. There's just life. Yeah. And I love that line.
Isn't it a great line? I
yeah.
loved it too, and I wrote it down. I thought, what did I mean by this?
Yeah.
But it's so true. You describe yourself as an outsider that from the time you were young, you never felt you belonged. How so?
I just never felt I belonged to any group or any bunch of people. I suppose I felt I belonged to my family, but we were outsiders. You know, we were always reading books and listening to classical music, and the people around us thought we were a little bit freaky and brainy and weird. And I never felt entirely at home anywhere. Left New Orleans early and never felt that I had a home. I feel kind of rootless even now.
Really?
Yeah.
And you're living in California now?
I'm living in California again, but I would love to have just a little apartment in the French Quarter of New Orleans because I do feel at home there, you know.
I even feel at home in New Orleans, and I'm not from New Orleans, but I spent time there with some marvelous people and on St. Charles Street and fooling around and eating oysters and doing all the things you do in New Orleans.
Sure.
But the great characters and the Big Easy.
Everybody there knows how to tell a story, and it is a story. There's a story to it everywhere.
For sure. Now, Movieland, I'm sure Movieland has called about The Wolves of Midwinter or The Wolf Gift. Yes, no?
We've had a lot of interest for TV, and we're in this wonderful golden era of TV for the supernatural writer, of science fiction, historical romance. You know, right now it's a great period, and we're getting a lot of interest. I'm hoping we'll get a good TV show out of it.
I'm sure, and there's a lot of romance in The Wolves of Midwinter, a lot of romance, and a little bit of hot sex.
Yes.
The werewolf variety sex, and the other kind.
Yes.
You write erotica.
I do. I think sex is wonderful, and I think, you know, it's a great challenge to write about sex well, and I try to do it.
and you've accomplished that.
I hope so.
What about an interview of a vampire? So that was your big one, right?
Yeah, that was my first novel, Interview with the Vampire. That's the one that I broke through with. And then The Vampire Lestat, the sequel to that 8 years later, was my first real hardcover success, best-selling, you know, novel. And that kind of started the Vampire Chronicles. And I wrote those books for years. And then the Witching Hour Chronicles, and then my erotica under the name A.N. Roquelaure. The beauty books, they're called, the Sleeping Beauty trilogy. So I've taken many twists and turns in my career.
As outsiders do.
I do, and I do many different types of writing. I enjoy that.
And is there a type of writing you haven't done yet? A book that's brewing, I'm sure a third one's brewing.
I don't know if there's a type of writing I haven't done yet, but I would like, I have ideas I can't even get to. I've got an idea right now about a ghost detective, and I haven't been able to just get the time to write that story out or that novel. I'm dying to do it.
If a movie star was to play Reuben Golding...
Matt Bomer. Matt Bomer.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a very beautiful guy, and he was my inspiration for Reuben.
Really?
Yeah, he stars in White Collar, the TV show. Jeff Easton, the producer, suggested that I write about werewolves in an email.
And the
that's
female?
That's why I wrote the book.
Laura, the love of
Now, I don't know
Reuben?
who would play Laura. I'm not sure, but I think there are many beautiful women who could play Laura.
Well, I'm too old. So
I'll tell you one thing that I get asked a lot is, who would play the Vampire Lestat today if we made a movie? Anson Mount. Anson Mount from Hell on Wheels, that's Lestat. I want to say that with enthusiasm.
And Lestat has a fan club, not you.
Absolutely.
You're very modest in many ways, in
Thank
spite
you.
of your huge success and your 100 million copies sold and all of that. You're modest in that you didn't so much want an Anne Rice fan club. I read this.
That's right. I wanted them to do a fan club for Lestat, my character who is not known for modesty. And that fan club has been in existence now for 30 years. They just did their big Halloween ball in New Orleans not long ago, and I went to the Halloween ball this year and saw all the kids in costume, and it was just fabulous.
And your fans often come in costume, do they not? Bring you gifts?
Yeah, they're great that way, yeah.
Can you refuse the wolf gift in fiction? If somebody, you're a human, you're a Reuben, and you get bit, you're done. But if you're somebody who doesn't want to be a man wolf or a woman wolf?
Right, somebody could refuse it if they really had the choice. If you get bitten, that's it, you're through. But certainly you could say no. But the big question is, how hard must it be to say no to immortality? I mean, these Morphinkinda don't age, and they can even suffer a gunshot wound and survive. And they can survive almost anything except, total destruction of their bodies. And how many people would really say no to that in the real world? Would you say no?
No, I would say ageless would be fantastic.
Yeah, so would I. So that always gets to me in this, when I'm writing about these characters.
So I would like the chrism.
Sure, I will do my best.
Don't bite me.
No,
but we'll think about it, because you can have the normal life, which we say there's no such thing as a normal life.
Right.
You have the normal life, and then you have the life with the Morphinkinder and the people of the forest gentry.
Yes.
Who are they?
Well, they were new people that I introduced in the Wolves of Midwinter, and they are the spirits of the forest who've learned over centuries how to materialize. They've learned from watching and working on it, they've learned how to take on particles to appear real. And they come walking in, and they just love being seen by the Morphinkinda and the other people in Reuben's house at Nideck Point. And they're a bit of a mystery. There's an argument about them going on in the novel. Margon, one of the older characters, says they're not really pure spirits. They're just ghosts of dead people that, like any other spirit, and they've learned how to materialize. And they say, no, 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 we're spirits. We were never human. So
a little conflict there. And don't call them fairies.
No, or elves. They do not wish to
They
be.
don't like that.
No, they don't.
No, well, I've talked to many loggers in my career and fallers in the forest, in the old growth forest. I did a series on forestry. And they will tell you, these tough old boys, that in the forest on a special day or on any day, you feel, they call them elementals. You will feel the spirit.
Yes.
Is it the tree? Is it the...
You feel a presence.
Yes.
A consciousness. I'm not, that's amazing. I'm so glad to hear that. And it doesn't surprise me, but it delights me to hear that.
Right. And these are blue-collar boys. I mean, they're not the type who would say, Margaret, I saw a spirit in the forest today when I was cutting the tree down.
Yeah, I get you.
Just not so. So really wisdom beings. Would that be right?
I don't know. I'm toying with what they are myself. I want to discover it as I write. But they're certainly benign. There's a point in the novel, I don't want to say anything that would spoil the novel, but there's a point in the novel where they show their power. They're capable of defending themselves and others.
Yes, I remember that part. When I read Anne Rice in the night, I have to take a moon drop, one of those homeopathic remedies, to go back to sleep, because when your blood's dripping and blood's dripping and the romance too drips, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
It's like...
I do try to scare people, I admit it.
Yeah. And if somebody dies violently, or you take out a bad guy, you take out a drug dealer, whatever you do.
Sure. Bit by bit.
Bit by bit, bone by bone, string by string, blood, and drink the blood. But they remember. That's the interesting thing about the man-wolf.
Yeah, they remember.
They remember. What is... you always take something away from a book. The metaphor in this book for you is lead your life to the full. Right.
Lead your life to the full, and life really belongs to you on all levels. This book is about Christmas, and it's about the Christian Christmas, the pagan Christmas, the old Yule rituals. It's about the rhythms of the earth. It's about living life to the fullest. And Reuben is learning as a young Morphinkind that life isn't over for him, it's just beginning. There's no normal life, there's just life. And Christmas is right at the heart of it. How will they celebrate this when they have this great secret that they're werewolves? How will they celebrate with their human friends and their human neighbors in Northern California? And how will they go off into the woods to celebrate as Morphinkinder, which they really need to do for their own little group?
And the importance of family and the importance of being with somebody who you truly love, who doesn't manipulate you.
Right.
I'm thinking of Celeste.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So leave that woman and go with, run off with Laura. I won't tell any more because we don't want to spoil it.
Great.
But now that we're on the subject of blood, we have a phenomenal author here, Lawrence Hill. I don't know if you've heard of him. He wrote a book of Negroes. His new book is called Blood, the Stuff of Life. I think you'll like it. It's my gift.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very eager to read this. This is wonderful.
It's, well, I think you might be able to put it in the next Chronicle.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, this is great. Okay.
Thank you. A pleasure.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for watching. The Wolves of Midwinter is out now.